I think artificial intelligence is one of the most transformative, important technologies in history. We've had a number of industrial revolutions. The first industrial revolution was driven by steam, basically, and then we had electricity, and then we got computers and the internet. They transformed society totally. And the first industrial revolution made Europe fabulously rich, and Europe spanned its economical interests all across the world. And with that, Europe spanned its cultural interests all across the world. Suddenly the whole world started to adopt and adapt to both our economy and our culture. So obviously technology drives power. Technology creates might. Technology creates make you rich. Europe became rich. That made Europe able to afford to create healthcare, universal healthcare, pension, regulations for work life, etc., etc. Today, the technology drive is not in Europe. And we know technology is redistributing power, if you want, and wealth, and today that is redistributing away from Europe. Technology is power. Technology is might. Technology is wealth. Technology is everything from financing Europe's way of life and Europe's welfare systems is paid for by technology. And now we know that since technology is power, so changes in technological eminence or in technological superiority, if that starts to change geopolitically, it changes power geopolitically. That's fantastic if that means that everybody becomes leveled, rich and healthy and create welfare system, but that's not what's happening. Today, there are two countries in the world that leads the AI race. It's United States and it's China. And in this race, the bronze medal doesn't count. Think in the future. Well, it's actually now. Our lives are driven by technology. We are like, technology for us is like water is for fish in the ocean. It's everywhere and it defines our lives. But they are increasingly not made in Europe. Increasingly we are importing the technologies we use, and these technologies defines not only our economy, but how we think about life, the universe and everything, because technology shapes our way of thinking. And artificial intelligence is a type of technology where that is more true than ever before. The large language models, they are generated from data. Those data and the values and the ethical positions in those data is reflected then in the tools we are making, and how we are curating these tools and this data and these models, how we adapt them, how we decide what should be the knowledge in these models. Who decides that? Some people in a few large technology companies. So for Europe, it's not only important from an economic perspective to get on the horse and get better in AI. It's also important from a cultural perspective, and it's important for our ability to continue to maintain the way of life that we are doing and having in Europe. Artificial intelligence is not only a productivity tool. It's not only it also is a type of production factor, because it changes the way we produce goods, services. We can create completely new things than before. We can create, artificial intelligence is a basis on top of which you can build a number of applications, a number of resources, a number of tools for science, for engineering, for art, for design. Which means that if you're not good in AI, if Europe is not good in AI, our ability to be eminent in science, design, art, etc., is also going to be lower. You will not lose your job to AI. You will lose your job to somebody using AI. Europe's businesses will not lose market positions to AI, but to businesses that use AI. And Europe's universities and scientists will not become less relevant because of AI, but because of other universities and scientists using AI. That's why we really need to be on the horse when we in AI in Europe, because it's not only about AI, it's about everything we do. Artificial intelligence accelerates everything, and if we are not using it, and we in Europe do not develop it, then we will end up further and further behind, not only in AI, but in all aspects of the economy and all aspects of life. That's why it's important that we accelerate now, that we actually are doing something differently with how we invest in AI in Europe. Ursula von der Leyen became president of the European Commission 4 years ago, and she launched a strategy for making Europe sovereign in technology, technological sovereignty, digital sovereignty, and with a particular focus on artificial intelligence. And now here we are 4 years later, and we're further behind the rest of the world, or at least our competitors, than we were when this initiative was started. So that means that von der Leyen's strategy, the Commission's ambitions have failed. The way we went on with it was not the right way. And one reason is that we have been unwilling to put the money into a concentrated effort, which they have done in the States and in China. Instead, we take, the Commission takes funds and spreads it thin out across all of Europe to individual professors and research groups that do not coordinate and do not collaborate. And then the Commission hopes that from spreading this all over, something magically will grow up. It doesn't happen that way. It is time that Europe does this differently, and it's time that Europe is establishing an organization, an independent research and innovation organization in artificial intelligence that becomes a beacon for science and innovation in AI, not only in Europe but in the world, where scientists can come and stay for a while, work, and then go home to their home institutions and continue working there. We have done it before. After the Second World War, particle physicists in the world, they were in the United States and the USSR. They were not in Europe. So we established CERN. At one point, after the Apollo program in the United States, Europe didn't have a space program, didn't have space competence. And we created the European Space Agency. And the same in aviation. When the only planes you could buy was from was from Boeing, we established Airbus. We have done this before and we can do it again. And artificial intelligence is arguably more important than particle physics, and space exploration and aviation. We need to do this in artificial intelligence too.